Hey guys, Jason here, Samco Workshop. So what are the five most important things you need in an off-road vehicle if you're going to be out there off-roading? And again, off-roading is different to many people. Some want to go off-road at an off-road park and play with their buddies, and that's fine. Others want to just go do some exploring and adventuring and overlanding and things like that. And others, like myself, we use them as hunting and fishing vehicles, and this has to get me to places and into certain areas. But what are the 5 things that make an off-road vehicle important that you need to be focused on and thinking about when you're buying it? Well, it comes down to these kind of things we're talking about right here. Number 1, tires. Okay, tires. There's a lot to tires. The tire tread design that you get, these are Toyo Open Country Open Country AT3s. I will never buy these again. They're wearing faster than I want them to. Falcon Wild Peaks are a much better tire. I like them better. Baja, Mickey Thompson Bajas. There's a lot of great tires out there, but the more aggressive the pattern, whether you go with an all-terrain or you go with a hybrid or you go with a mud terrain, but the tire tread is going to be your biggest asset. Okay, that's what's going to have the most power to get you through everything out here. Tires are vitally important. I know a guy out here that runs around in a 2-wheel drive 1998 S10, Chevy S10, 2-wheel drive, but he has mud tires on it, and he will go places that many people can't even dream about going to. Like, I've watched people out here that will get stuck in a full size, like a Ram 1500 with street tires on it, that can't get down some of the roads. This guy with a 2-wheel drive 98 S10 can actually roll right down, no big deal, in his 2-wheel drive because of the tires. So tire tread is tremendous. That is one of the biggest things that's going to make a difference for you as the tires. You need to, at least at a minimum, get an all-terrain or, like I said, step up to a mud terrain. The downside to a mud terrain is their tread wears really fast, so you're replacing expensive tires pretty quick. That's the reason I don't run mud terrains. You can handle the noise on the road, not a big deal. You can handle a lot of things for mud terrains, but the wear and how fast they burn out is too much of an issue for me as a high-mile driver. So for me, it's all terrains. Like I said, Falcon being the smartest bet in there, in my opinion. But it is a tread pattern that matters tremendously to give you the traction. This is where all of your traction comes from, is right here. Next up is tire size. Okay, ground clearance only comes from tire size. Okay, I don't care how you lift it. I don't care what you do. Even if you lift your vehicle, you cannot get that axle. Okay, you cannot get that axle any higher up until you put a bigger tire on. That axle rides right here, is the center of that axle. Okay, so there's a pumpkin down here. This is your ground clearance. Okay, that's all you're getting, is where that pumpkin is on that axle is the lowest. That's your ground clearance. That's where you're going to start dragging, is on that stuff right there. And when that happens, you're snagging and you're hanging up. The only way to beat that is to increase your tire size. This originally had 33-inch tires on it. We put 35s on it. Did that give me 2 inches more ground clearance? No, it gave me 1 more inch of ground clearance because we split the difference. Only half of that 2 inches is below the center line of this. 1 inch down here, 1 inch up here with the circumference. So going up 2 inches in tire sizes gave me 1 more inch of ground clearance. But the taller the tire, I don't care how wide they are, the width means nothing. Okay, the width has absolute 0 value in the woods. I know people are going to get mad when I say that, but it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is when you have to air down, your footprint will spread this way. Your footprint's not really going to spread this way because of the rim trapping it, but it will spread out long-wise like that and give you a bigger tread patch. But having taller tires will give you more clearance and give you better options to get a much bigger tire contact patch on the ground. So those are tires, as I said, those are your biggest changes you can make for off-road capability. More aggressive tread and a bigger tire is going to be a huge one. Next one is, back in this setup here on that rear axle, is a rear locker. Okay, not many vehicles made today are going to come with a front locker. Okay, as far as trucks go, your ZR2s from Chevy are a true front locker, and the Jeep Rubicon is a true front locker. Other than that, there's nothing else out there that's in a pickup truck that's a true front locker. Fords are a Oh, actually, a Power Wagon also has a true front locker, but and there may be like the Rebel TRX might too. I might be missing a couple, but for the most part, most of your trucks, Ford uses a Torsen, kind of a limited slip differential in the front that works really, really good, but it's not a true locker. Front lockers are very hard to come by. It's very easy to find a vehicle in pretty much every manufacturer's lineup that will give you an actual rear locker. That rear locker is vitally important. When this is in four-wheel drive, it's really only two-wheel drive when you get stuck. If you get into a hole and one wheel starts to spin, it takes that's the max amount of torque you're going to get, and the other one basically dies. It will not get any more power than the one it's slipping. Same thing happens in the front. By having a rear locker, you tie these two together, and no matter if one starts to slip, the other one gets the same amount of power that you're putting out of the from the accelerator. It's not losing and being set by that. So you actually get two-wheel drive in the back, one-wheel drive in the front for the most part when you have a rear locker. So you gain that extra wheel, which is very, very important. And if you can get front lockers, in my opinion, that's a vitally good thing. I mean, like I said, I've used my front lockers 24 times, and I've had this thing, 3.5 months. I've used lockers, the front locker 24 times. I mean, the thing is just, the front locker is vital for me out here in the mud. I'll make a video on that sometimes, because there's a lot of people that have misconceptions on the value of a front locker. They're, I can do 99% of the stuff I need with a rear locker. Maybe you can, but you don't drive where I drive. And where I drive, when you start talking about long stretches of mud and holes, I promise you, front locker is a gold mine. Very few vehicles offer a front locker, though. So having the tire size, having the tire tread, having the rear locker, those are your best bets, okay? The next one is your off-road numbers. Your approach angle is going to be tremendously valuable. Your breakover angle sometimes is valuable out here. I'm in the south and in the swamps. It's not like it. Now, if you live out west in the mountains and dealing with that, breakover angle may matter more. Here, it's not that big of a deal. And your departure angle on here too, to be able to get up and down and in and out of holes. So those are important factors for a lot of people on what their vehicle's capable of doing for them that you need to take into consideration. The ground clearance, like I said, is important for me tremendously because of the fact that I need it to be able to get, so I'm not hanging up on all the roots or ruts in the mud, and be able to get that clearance so that my tires can be on the ground pulling me and I'm not high centered on the frame. So ground clearance is a huge one. So the approach and departure, those off-road numbers we talk about so much are very, very valuable. And 5, the last one, is going to be a combination, but it is recovery points and protection. Okay, so here on this Jeep, we got 2 good recovery points. We got one right here. We got one right there on both of these right here. So that's nice. On the rear, we have our hitch that we could use like most trucks have. We could actually plug in, never pull from this hitch, okay? You never want to hook onto here and pull. You need to actually buy an insert with a shackle on there that goes in there and fills that right that you can recover from. But I also have 2 recovery points right here that are rock solid and phenomenal. They work absolutely incredible. So, and what's nice about that is I just pulled out my buddy the other day from out here. He called me, and but he was stuck in the mud so bad that I wasn't even risking pulling from one, because we tried it a couple of times, couldn't get him to move. I had to break out the kinetic strap and really we had to put some energy into that thing to get it moving. Before I did that, I actually bridled from here to here and brought it out to here and connected that so that I was actually pulling from both frame points on there to have that advantage so we could really get him moving. So recovery points are tremendous. The other one is protection. You notice on my Jeep, we got protection. I got steel plate right here, steel guard, so that if I do drag my butt on anything, I'm protected. I have rock rails right here that will protect the side from any damage that we have on here. We have skid plates here underneath of here that are going to protect everything that you could hit on there, that's going to keep you safe, protect you from taking out oil pans and exhaust. We have this huge front bumper on here. Now this is plastic, and I like it though because it is cheap to replace, and it protects me because I drive over crap like this all the time. I'm out here and driving through this stuff, and I'm constantly driving over all of this garbage all the time, and having this be able to protect all of my painted surfaces is a beautiful thing. So those are what it boils down to. Tire tread, number one, absolute number one. Nothing will help better. Tire tread, Number 2, tire size. Number 3, rear locker if you can get it. Number 4, do anything you can to improve the off-road angles that you can get out of that vehicle. And number 5, make sure you got recovery points front and rear and some protection on the vehicle. That's going to be what you should be after if you're going to be out here. If you're spending any time in the woods, those are the things you should be looking for. Thanks for watching.